Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Tuesday, December 17th of the Plan Commission. Today, it is 6 p.m. We'll begin with the roll call. Let's see. I am Mayor Kim Smith, Mike Milkey.
Here.
Jared Holter.
Here.
Dan Brock. Tom Smith. Absent excused. Eric Archer.
Here.
Bill Lethan.
Here.
Thank you. Item 2, consideration and action from the previous minutes on the previous meeting.
I move we approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Bill Lethan. It's been seconded by Eric Archer to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Is there any discussion on that motion? Not seeing or hearing any. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 3 is public input. We do have several public hearings on the agenda tonight, but any person can give public input on any topic during this time. If you choose to do so, please begin by stating your name and your address and limit your comments to 3 minutes. If anyone would like to give general public input tonight, now is the time to do so. Would anyone like to give general public input this evening? Second call for public input. We will have a public hearing on the specific agenda items later on. This is just general public input. So you'll have an opportunity for that public hearing coming up here in just a minute. Okay. So we'll do one more call for general public input. Okay, general public input is now closed, and we'll move on to consideration and possible action on the following items. Item number 4 is the public hearing for the general development plan application to create a planned unit development to facilitate the construction of a new single-family residential development containing 12 new parcels and request deviations from the Unified Development Code, including but not limited to reducing the minimum street yard setback from 25 feet to 20 feet, reducing the minimum lot frontage from 70 feet to 60 feet, and allowing the existing detached accessory structure to temporarily remain without a principal structure. And this is located at 524 L Hauser Road. This is tax parcel ID number 18-2099-0, and the applicant is Traditional Trades Incorporated and Edward Hengel. If anyone would like to speak in favor of this general development plan, now is the time to do so. I'm asking for people to speak in favor. Please begin by stating your name and your address. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Melissa Aspenson with Traditional Trades, 1641 Sand Lake Road, Onalaska. We would like to thank Katie and staff for all of their time aiding the planning process and the great overall review of the project. The proposed Johnson Estates Addition 4 covers approximately 4.3 acres with 12 single-family sites. We are planning on both roles of developer and builder of this project. We designed the units to fit the style, look, feel that we are proposing for the development. Varied setbacks, lot widths, and 32 feet are proposed with the objective of creating a sense of balance to development with a cozy cottage feel. We recognize change and disturbance and believe the development will fit into the neighborhood. We are asking for the possibility of keeping the existing garage type structure until December 15th, 2026. We plan to use the building for material storage during construction. We will be available for any questions and concerns. Thank you for your time and consideration on this project.
Thank you. Welcome.
Adam Aspenson with Traditional Trades, 1641 Sand Lake Road. I'm in favor of this project. We would be the developer and the builder for this 12-lot single-family subdivision. I'll be here if there's any other questions.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Second call for anyone wishing to speak in favor. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak in favor of this general development plan. Not seeing or hearing anyone, I'll declare that part of the public hearing closed and now ask if anyone would like to speak against this general development plan application to create the planned unit development. If you'd like to speak against, come forward, state your name and your address.
My name is Lyndon Jackson. My address is 623 Violet Street. I'm not completely against what's going on. I'm against on how the city is changing the rules to affect the other property owners. Because now it's money talking. If you're going from 70 feet to 60 feet, well, on my property line, I'll have 3 different landowners on the backside of my property, which I could sooner or later have conflicts with this or that on. Whereas if they kept it at the 70-foot minimum, they may have to reduce this down to 10 lots. The way they got this cut up, it looks like a narrow and long. It looks like you're putting in a mobile home park. And I've had issues with when they put in that fence. There's a fence along there. And I had issues with him about the survey marks. He pulled my survey markers out and put in his fence. I gave him permission to put in the fence, but I didn't give up the property if that's so mine. And it also down the line, one of the property owners had a dispute on the property line down there. So we'd like to get, them property lines straightened out, because it looks like a straight line here, but if you look at lot 5 in the Comper addition, no, lot 6, you go down along that fence line and there's a jog in it because they got into a dispute over it, and he didn't give on it. So they made the fence out farther, but yet up by me, they cut a piece of concrete off and put the fence right there. So I'm not so much against it. I'm just against on how they, we're not Sand Lake Cooley Road where they got all them cracker box houses. We got big lots up in that end of the city, and now you want to cut them down to little small lots. So I guess that's my concerns.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak against? Come on up. Welcome. State your name and your address.
Thank you. I'm Kathy Osland, 1009 Oak Avenue North. And thank you for your time. I'm here to respectfully ask this group to deny Traditional Trades and Ed Hengel's request to deviate from the Unified Development Code. I purchased my property with a backyard that connects to this parcel 4 years ago. Like many of my neighbors, I chose this area due to its quiet, peaceful feel, complete with mature trees, ample yards, and spaced out homes. This proposed plan does not fit in with our neighborhood. Minimal standards are to be that, minimal standards, as the previous speaker commented on. Reducing the minimum lot frontage from 70 to 60 feet, reducing the street yard setback allows these houses to be too concentrated. A review of the map clearly shows that the proposed lots are far more narrow than lots that surround them on all 4 sides. My property may be zoned R2, but it's approximately 80 feet wide, which exceeds the minimum not just for R2, but for R1 as well, as do all the properties around me. The proposed density means a significant increase in traffic, noise, and lights. The orientation of the proposed road will mean headlights and streetlights shining straight into the back of numerous homes on Oak Avenue, straight into our bedrooms. A busy cul-de-sac will be feet away from our backyards. 12 houses, that's likely 12 cars or 24 cars, plus guests with only one outlet. This decreases our home values and our quality of life. While I would love to see this development stopped altogether, I understand the city's desire for new homes and Mr. Hengel's desire to develop and sell his land. However, new development should be held to the R1 standards for which this land is currently zoned, rather than degrading the standards and integrity of this long-established neighborhood. Again, I request you deny the proposal as currently submitted, and a new proposal could perhaps be submitted that reduces the total number of homes. In addition, I request a more expansive detailed plan to mitigate lights shining at other properties and to reduce the visual impact and noise of increased activities, such as repair or maintenance of the existing 6-foot fence or a replacement, grading considerations to reduce car lights angled up and over the existing fence, and again, into our back windows. My house, where my bedroom window sits, I will be looking right over that street and the cul-de-sac with car lights shining right in. Additional landscaping beyond the 2 trees per house to act as a screening or buffer, in particular in those high impact areas such as the cul-de-sac. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak against? Welcome.
Hello, my name is Amin Ayub. My property is 631 El Hauser Road, and I am against this development because when we bought the property back in 1992, we were told that this area will remain the way it is today, with 12 houses on El Hauser Road and no construction coming in this area that is in question. As the other people have indicated, this will increase traffic. The homes are much smaller, and the change in the rules allowing the 25 feet of setback to 20 feet, if that is done for this property in ever, then it should apply to all other properties as well. And so for my property, which has a 25-foot setback, should be changed to 20 as well, which will increase my property by 400 square feet. So if this is done for this, it should be done for everyone, but really, it shouldn't be done at all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak against? Come on up. Begin by stating your name and your address.
Lyndon Jackson, 623 Viola Street. Another concern is what's going to happen to the hillside back mainly on the southeast corner. That's where the hill comes up. You know, and generally when they buy a chunk of land, they want to flatten it to fit as much as they can in there. So I'm wondering what's going to happen to that hillside back there when they start construction. And is there going to be any erosion problem from my yard down through there? Especially if they're building the houses on a narrow lot, they're going to be wanting to lengthen them out. So my concern is what's going to happen to that hillside back there?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak against? Second call for anyone wishing to speak against. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak against the general development plan as submitted by the Traditional Trades and Edward Hengel. Not seeing or hearing anyone else, I will announce the public hearing is now closed, and I'll ask our city planner, Katie Aspenson, to introduce the item to the Planning Commission this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. The comprehensive plan identifies the area in question as the traditional low-density residential district, which is intended for detached residential neighborhoods and walkable neighborhoods designed for conventional subdivision attributes. As stated on the agenda, this PUD request is to allow for deviations and exceptions to the code standards for a new residential subdivision to contain 12 single-family parcels. In particular, to reduce the minimum street yard setback from 25 feet to 20 feet, to reduce the minimum lot frontage from 70 feet to 60 feet, and third, to allow an existing detached accessory structure to remain without a principal structure for no longer than December 15th of 2026. Included in your packet this evening is a copy of the planned unit development plan set, as well as a cover letter from the developer. The city reviewed the proposed PUD following the development and design standards found in section 13.02.32 D through E of the Unified Development Code. The applicant is requesting to reduce the minimum lot frontage from 70 feet to 60 feet. As shown in the plan, only 2 of the proposed parcels show 60-foot frontages, and all others show variations between 60.1 foot to 94.09 feet. Additionally, all parcels located along the cul-de-sac exceed the minimum requirement of 45 foot. All other aspects of section 13.02.24 lot dimension standards tables have been met. City staff are in support of this deviation request. This lot frontage requirement is allowed for single-family dwellings that are in the R2 district, which is being requested to apply to the R1 district. The applicant proposes an increased side yard setback from the 6-foot minimum to a 10-foot minimum from the side parcel line. Again, all other dimensional requirements for the R1 district have been met with the proposed development. Concerning lot area, the lot area minimums of 7,200 square feet per parcel are met with the proposed development. The applicant is requesting also to allow an existing detached accessory structure to remain no longer than December 15th of 2026. City staff are in support of the request as the detached structure exists today and is considered non-conforming due to a lack of a principal structure. The applicant intends to utilize the structure for building material storage during construction, and the structure itself will need to be removed in order to accommodate the construction of the dwelling on proposed Lot 1. Upon demolition of that structure, this deviation would no longer apply to the planned unit development. Concerning lot setbacks. Section 13.02.25 Site Dimension Standards Table requires a 25 minimum street yard setback for parcels in the R1 district. The applicant is requesting to reduce the minimum street yard setback from 25 feet to 20 feet. All other aspects of section 13.02.25 Site Dimension Standards Tables are met with the proposed development. City staff are in support of this request as the reduced setback allows for small flexibility in the siting of the residences. All but 2 of the proposed dwellings are proposed to be at 25 feet. All other dimensional requirements for the R1 district have been met with the proposed development. Concerning building height, environmental design, architecture, parking, streets, utility and drainage, traffic calming design, circulation and access, landscaping, and signage, the applicant is not requesting any deviations from the code and to follow all the regulations of the Unified Development Code. Concerning common open space, PUDs require a minimum of 15% shown within Outlot 1, which is going to be dedicated for future stormwater and open space purposes. Again, no requested deviations. City staff have put together a total of 15 conditions of approval for this development. Thank you.
Thank you for that. With that report complete, I will turn this matter over to the Plan Commission. What is your desire?
Can I ask a question without a motion?
Yes.
I went out there and tried to look around a bit and I saw that fence. And I'm a little confused. Was the fence, I mean, did each individual property owner along the perimeter of that build a fence that is essentially identical to everybody else? Or how did that fence get there?
Katie, do you know the answer to that question, or
I suggest the developer come and address that question to the Plan Commission.
Adam, could you come up and answer a couple questions? The question is regarding the origin of the fence that's in place.
Yep, the fence, right now all belongs to the Hingle, residents. So back in the nineties or whenever, Ed and Nancy Hingle built the house, they built the fence that perimetered that 5 acres.
What is your intention regarding the fence?
Well, we're gonna try to preserve majority of all, if all the fence and, most of the trees that we can. Obviously, there's gonna have to be sections of it, you know, where the road go through and that's gonna obviously have to come down, but the rest of it, we plan on keeping. Now, once that's said, you're gonna have 12 other homeowners in there that fence will belong to them. So now they have to maintain it. And, you know, that fence is probably 15, 20 years old, if not longer. So it has a little bit of maintaining and upkeep to it. So
Thank you. Does that answer?
as far as on our side, we're keeping the fence there.
Okay. Bill, does that answer your
Pretty
question?
much, yeah.
Thank you, Adam.
Thanks.
Do the commissioners have any other questions for Adam while he's up here? Okay, can we get a motion on the floor?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the general development or planned for tax parcel ID number 18-2099-0 for the applicant's Traditional Trades, Inc. and Edward Hingle with the 15 conditions of approval.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Mike Milky. It's been seconded by Eric Archer for approval with the 15 conditions. Now discussion. Jan?
Just a question. The conditions say that they reduce the street yard setback along with the 70 to 60 foot on all the lots. But if that's only a possibility on 2 of the lots, why are we saying all?
Katie?
So that's the lowest number. It's a variation between 60 feet all the way up. So they chose the lowest number possible. So if you look at all the individual lots, not every one of them is all at 60 foot. They vary. So they went with the smallest number.
So literally it could be on every one of the 12.
It could be, but then they'd have to come back with a new plat to change what they're proposing.
Gotcha. Okay. And the second question I have, can I ask you?
Yes, you can continue to ask questions as long as you have the floor. You're welcome.
It said something about the zoning. Is the current zoning of that property R1?
R1,
Yes.
And they're requesting to go to R2?
no.
No, they're not requesting anything with the zoning. The zoning they're proposing to stay is single family or low density residential, which is our R1 district. When I referenced the R2, I was showing that if it was rezoned to R2, you can have a single family development with 60-foot lot frontages. So they're essentially asking to apply that standard in the R2 district to the R1 district.
So I think alternatively, they could have come and asked to be rezoned at R2, and then they wouldn't have needed to request these changes.
But all of the homes will be single-family homes compatible with the existing neighborhood.
Correct. You can only,
But there, the lots along Elhauser Road obviously have very, what you call those, estate-sized lots, which is different than a lot of the others, so,
they can only construct single family homes in that area.
thank you.
Okay, commissioners, Jared?
Yeah, just going over a few of the items that were brought up. The part of the preliminary plan that's been submitted by the developer, we've reviewed it for the engineering portions of it. We have not received final plans at this point. They will be cutting down that area elevation wise so that as the owner along Violet Street stated, there will be there's quite a few trees along the Violet Street rear lot line. Some of those trees will be removed as part of the project. I don't see those staying. The elevation, because it kind of does go uphill, goes uphill and then kind of flattens out behind the Oak Avenue residences. It will be graded out for a cul-de-sac and the home sites. So it will be quite a bit of grading work in there to get the work done versus what you see today. We will have plans submitted. We'll make sure there's an erosion control plan. There'll be a water and sewer plan. There'll be all those plans, including a stormwater management plan. It's part of the reason on the plat today, you see a stormwater management area. The developer is looking at a dry pond, almost I would call it a rain garden type area. It will be connected to the city storm sewer system, so it will not it'll temporarily slow down the water going into the stormwater system, but it will drain out. The street going in there will be, put into city standards for a R1 development. With that, I guess it's from a water and sewer stormwater point, it's typical of what we would see. They have to put these stormwater management practices in to receive DNR approval to do any land disturbance. So just wanted to bring a few of those things up. So if you have any questions, we can discuss them.
Thank you for that, Jared. Eric?
Katie, I just want to make sure I understand the scope of the deviations. Sounds like the primary concern tonight of our gathered community members. So only 2 of the 12 lots will require a deviation. Is that right?
The way that the plan is presented today, however, I don't want to state that only 2 of them would need to go down to 20 for that street yard setback. Again, on an individual basis, they'll have to come in one by one and the buildings may shift to some degree. So, but they would be allowed to go down to, again, that 60 foot, and they would be allowed to go down to the 20 foot.
I see. So the deviation is for 2 units now, but it could potentially be applied to other units should there be an application?
Correct, but overall, it's a flat approval that street yard would be reduced for the 12 parcels. They could go down to 20. They are not required to go down to 20.
I see. So it's really not approving just 2. It is in effect approving a broadly applied.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. And then the side setbacks, is it correct to say that they're exceeding the setback on density standards for side yard setbacks?
Correct. The city only requires a 6-foot side yard setback from the foundation of a home to the side parcel line, and they are proposing to have an increased side yard setback for all of these properties.
And would that be per all parcels, or could that change as it's developed?
That is for all parcels.
Okay. And then lastly, what would be the reason we would create 12 lots with potentially 2 deviations versus a fewer number of lots with no deviations?
Ultimately, it's up to the developer and the vision that they have for this particular subdivision. Having either a reduced lot frontage, setback deviations, these are more common that we see in subdivisions that are happening today as people are trying to accommodate future development. So setbacks in particular are the most heavily requested deviation, and our code allows for deviations to come in on a case-by-case basis in order to have the developer's essential vision come to life.
Okay, and you apply that city lens over the developer's vision coming to life. The city lens is to balance that with community member needs.
Correct, and also what the need is of the developer. Ultimately, it's up to the Plan Commission and Common Council whether or not you support the request that's coming forward by the developer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for that, Katie. Any other discussion?
I guess
Mike?
I just have some comments just to, think about this. I know traditional trades has been a staple of this community. The developments they've done has been tremendous from what I've seen. So I do have a great amount of faith in what they are putting together, their vision. And I just want to put that out there that I do know and trust, what they're doing. Also, with the conversation already started that there's a potential for development to go in, if this were to be turned down, there's a good chance something else could go in that might be less favorable, maybe an apartment complex. I mean, there might be something different where it gets rezoned. So to have 12 single-family homes, I do feel is something beneficial to the city. But I can totally understand people's, feedback on this. I guess I just want to give just some of my opinion about what's going on. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you for that. Any other comments or questions? Jan?
Just have one more question to follow up something Jared said. The elevation change over to like Oak Avenue North is quite high. Well, that wouldn't require any type of walls or retainment?
No, they don't have any retaining walls shown on their preliminary submittals that they submitted. I think it'll it'll be a sloped backyard, probably, 6 to 10 feet of slope probably, but I don't envision any walls at this time. Doesn't mean that a property owner couldn't come in later and put in a wall, but I don't envision any with the project at this time.
Thank you.
Okay, Eric.
Katie, to Mike's second point, there could be a concern that something less desirable would come in if we don't approve this. That would still have to come through the same process of approval through us and the city council.
Correct.
All right.
If the property would be requested to be rezoned, there would be another public hearing. The neighbors would again be notified and it would go through the same procedure.
All the same levels of scrutiny still apply. Thank you.
And Katie, could you please just, since we have a lot of people in the audience that maybe are not familiar with the process, the motion that we do have on the floor here is to approve this with the 15 conditions. If we do go forward and approve this evening, can you just talk through what the next steps are?
Of course, Mayor. So if this development is approved, as well as the preliminary plat and the final implementation plan, which are all tied to this development, if they're approved at tonight's meeting, they will go to the January Common Council meeting for final consideration. And then subsequently, if those are approved by the Common Council, the applicant would return with a final plat with more details associated with that. There is no public hearing, though, associated with a final plat review.
So there's multiple steps to this process. Okay, any other discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. So if this proposal is denied, then my assumption is that then they could readjust their lots to meet the current code. And that's how life will be. They're probably, instead of 12 units, there might be 10 or something. But is there a possibility then that actually life would get worse if we deny this? I mean, would somebody come in with some bizarre proposal for like apartments or something like that, or do we need to worry about that?
If the proposal is denied, it would be up to the applicant to see if they want to repropose a new development. But again, that's up to the applicant and the developer. I can't predict the future and tell you if this gets denied that someone else wouldn't come in and request to rezone and do a different development. We don't have much land left in the city, so we are focusing on infill development. So developments like this, where land has been vacant for a long period of time, is now coming to the forefront, that now we're starting to see people willing to move and willing to invest and build new communities within our city. So I don't know what would happen. That's ultimately up to the property owner and the developer.
Some of the thinking then is that since this has sat like this for 50 years with nobody doing anything, the fact that somebody's willing to do something is a good idea.
You should try to speak into your microphone.
The fact that this parcel has just sat there for 50 years with no, am I right about that, or am I getting something confused? I'm thinking of a different property. I'm sorry, just forget it. Well, I guess that's the question. How long has this been
It is undeveloped property.
undeveloped?
It's undeveloped.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not ever been developed before. So I mean, that's to Katie's point, is that as we know, we don't have farmers' fields or vast tracts of undeveloped land. So as we go forward, we're going to be seeing more and more cases like this. And so as we do, we need to carefully consider if this is the best use of the property and how we would like to see it. And and the tool that we have is our land use map, which maybe Katie wants to speak about that, how we forecast what we see as the future use of property. And that's what helps guide us. And so this land has been already zoned as R1. So in our future looking, we said in our future, we see this as a R1, which is a relatively low density, single family homes. So this person is coming forward and saying, I propose we put single family homes here, and our staff says, okay, that matches our plan. And so really in absence of some other overwhelming information, what the developer's proposing does match what our elected officials and staff have planned for that area. Unless our planner wants to say something more profound. Thank you. Jan?
Can I just ask, is it, so it's not possible to just change the street yard setback and the maximum minimum width just for those two lots? We can't. I just am concerned that we've given them carte blanche on all 12 lots when it really only applies to 2 in either case, the setback or the width. No.
So the lot dimension applies to more than just 2 parcels. It applies to multiple parcels throughout the area. And if the preliminary plat is approved and the final plat is approved, then the only way that they could modify a lot frontage from what you've approved and a future approval is that they'd have to come in and get CSMs and lot line shifts. It's not an easy process. So if this is what you're satisfied with as the Plan Commission and the city, this is the anticipated what you're going to see for the development moving forward.
So that's basically the reason they didn't come in as just a regular platted street,
It is going to be a regular platted street.
but it's a planned unit development.
Right, which any property in excess of 1 acre in our community has the ability to come forward and request deviations, up to 5 for the entirety of the development. They have come before you this evening for 3 requests, and it's up to the Plan Commission and the council to approve or deny those requests.
I don't disagree that I think Mr. Aspenson has done a remarkable job of development out along Sand Lake Road. I commend you for that. But I think maybe what the residents are concerned about is fear of the unknown, because this is kind of open-ended. Possibly that's the case.
And I feel like, Katie, most people I feel like are talking about the street yard setback as the primary concern. And I feel like that's a pretty common thing that we do waive quite often. And that is actually already historically not, there's a lot of existing properties that are closer than 20 feet. Would you agree with that?
For our upcoming subdivisions in the last few years,
Thinking the one that we just did,
so Grandview Estates.
Grandview Estates,
lots
all
1
of
and
those
2,
are.
The majority of them have some sort of a setback deviation for the lots to account for the topography of the area. So I think it's also important to know that the city of Onalaska is in need of housing. Our comprehensive plan talks about it often. The housing study that the city procured back in 2022 and 2023 is noting that there is a need for housing in our community. From my understanding of the housing that's being proposed, it would allow people to potentially move around in our community. So these homes could be for children. There's a elementary school blocks away from this development. It's one of the prime areas right in the heart of our community. And I think it's really important that the city stand behind the need. People want to be here. People want to be in our schools. Our schools are crying for families. This is a way that the city of Onalaska can grow on the inside instead of constantly going to the outside and expanding our services. They can immediately hook in to the utilities that we have available. I think this is a wonderful development for the city of Onalaska.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, the motion that we have on the floor is to approve the general development plan to create a planned unit development The motion is to approve. It does have 15 conditions. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say no.
No,
Okay, we have, I don't know how many people we have. Should have done a roll call. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yes and 1 no. Is that correct? Motion carries. Okay, so then this will go forward to our January council meeting for those of you in the audience. And we do have action on item 8 as well. Okay,
puts me in the spot. though.
right? Okay, well, you laughed. I thought I messed up. Okay, I've been known to make many mistakes during meetings. Okay, item 5 is also a public hearing. This is for the preliminary plat application containing 12 parcels of land for future single-family residential development located at 524 L Hauser Road. This is tax parcel ID number 18-20990. The applicant is Traditional Trades Incorporated and Edward Hengel. I will now open the public hearing and ask if anyone would like to speak in favor of this preliminary plat. So this is for the preliminary plat application. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Welcome, Adam.
Aspenson, 1641 Sand Lake Road. We are in favor of this project once again. We'll be here for any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Second call for anyone wishing to speak in favor. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak in favor of the preliminary plat application. That part of the public hearing is now closed, and I'll ask for anyone wishing to speak against the preliminary plat application. Come on up. Start by saying your name and your address. This is for the preliminary plat. The first one was for the planned unit development, which is the project. And this one is for the plot. So, Katie, do you want to explain it?
The initial was to accommodate the deviation requests for the preliminary plat, or excuse me, for the planned unit development. The preliminary plat is the actual formal process to subdivide land. So it's
Kinda like the
contingent
map.
upon the planned unit development in terms of the lot dimensions.
So when this passes, those lots get divided.
Yes.
Okay, so the final plot was not approved, but the plan for how the development would go forward, the initial portion of it was approved for how the plan would go forward. The idea of it, the idea of how it would go was approved. What we're talking about now is the plot, and a plot is kind of like a map. So how those different parcels would be divided. How the parcels are going to get divided is not exactly the same thing as how the houses will be positioned on them, and some of the other variables. So it is slightly different. It's legally different. So these are all different legal steps that we have to take. It's a complex process to develop the property. So I'm asking if anybody would like to speak against this. And if you are against the property being divided into parcels, this would be a time to speak against it. And if Jared or Katie would like to add on to that, you could. Okay.
Kathy Osland, 1009 Oak Avenue North again. So I guess I'm going to again make that plea. I think many of my neighbors that I have spoken with, we understand the need for housing. We understand that need, right? What we are having an issue with is why are we reducing our standards? And some of you made some excellent points, and I thank you for that. So why not have this 10 slots instead of 12 so that the deviation doesn't even need to be on the table? And that's our concern, is why are they being more narrow? And I'm sorry, perhaps I'm not reading this map correctly, but when I make it larger and I look at all these interior lots, I'm seeing 60 feet across. So that minimum lot frontage is 60 on more than just two that's being, I've heard before. And maybe I misinterpreted that. But again, I guess I am asking for denial that this is divided into 12 lots rather than a number of lots, perhaps 10, whether it's 9 or 10 or whatever that would be, so that deviation does not need to be put into effect. Again, we have standards for a reason, and this division is in the heart of an established neighborhood. This isn't a new division, out on an island. It is the heart of already established neighborhood. And I think we're just asking for that compromise and balancing the needs of all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, would anyone else like to speak against?
Lyndon Jackson, 623 Violet Street. I can go along the same line with her. Why can't they divide this into 10 lots instead of 12, except money, 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 money. And that's what the city wants, is money, money, money. And that's what the developer wants to make, money, money, money. But then the heck with the other property owners, like I brought up before, where I'd run into a conflict because of the reduced lot sizes. But the old saying goes, money talks.
Thank you, sir. Okay, would anyone else like to speak against? Second call for anyone wishing to speak against. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak against. Okay, that public hearing is now closed, and we'll turn it over to our city planner, Katie Aspenson, to introduce this preliminary plat application to the Plan Commission this evening. Katie?
Thank you, Mayor. This preliminary plat request is to facilitate a new single-family residential subdivision consisting of 12 single-family parcels. The subdivision will include an extension of Johnson Place, as well as sanitary sewer, water, and storm sewer extensions. The applicant has also requested a planned unit development shown in addenda item number 4 in order to accommodate this development. Construction of improvements is planned to begin in spring of 2025 with anticipated completion in 2026. Anticipated value of the subdivision is approximately $5.4 million. If the preliminary plat is approved, the applicant will be required to apply and obtain approval for final plat with the Department of Administration's approval. Included in your packet is the proposed preliminary plat application as well as the plat. City staff have put together a total of 26 conditions of approval for this development.
Thank you. With that being said, I will turn the matter over to the Plan Commission. What is your desire?
I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary plot request to facilitate a new single-family residential subdivision consisting of 12 single-family parcels with the 26 conditions as outlined in agenda item 5.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Eric Archer. It's been seconded by Mike Milkey with the 26 conditions. Discussion. Eric?
Katie, could you answer the question that was asked about how many plots are 60 feet and how many are not?
All right, so just to read into the record, what is shown as Lot 2 is 62.44 feet. Lot 3 is 60.1 feet. Lot 4 is 60 feet. Lot 9 is 60 feet. Lot 10 is 60.06 feet. Lot 11 is 61.92 feet. Lot 12 is 62.59. Lots 5, 6, 7, and 8 are along a cul-de-sac. Cul-de-sacs are only required to have a 45-foot street frontage. All of the ones shown on here have 64.95 for lot 8, 50.7 feet for lot 7. Lot 6 is 52.06 feet, and lot 5 is 64.58 feet.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Jan?
I hate to keep beating this point, but in actuality, several of the lots are short of 70 feet. They are over 60 feet, like, well, this is very hard to read for older folks, but 60.7 feet. So a lot of them are really below our normal code. I'm just talking to myself. There's no question there. Sorry. Okay. Is that the case, Katie? That is correct?
7 of the 12 proposed lots are less than 70 feet of frontage, which is allowed. The 4 homes on the cul-de-sac exceed 45 feet, which is the minimum, and lot 1 is in excess of 70 feet.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Okay, not seeing or hearing any, the motion on the floor is to approve with 26 conditions. All those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed say no.
No,
Okay, we have 4 yes and 2 no. Is that correct? Motion carries. Okay, item 6, public hearing. This is for a rezoning application to rezone a parcel of land from low medium density residential R2 district to park and open space district P2 located at 300 13th Avenue South to accommodate future expansion of the Onalaska Cemetery. This is tax parcel ID number 18-1025-0. The applicant is the city of Onalaska. I'll open the public hearing and ask for people to speak in favor of this rezoning application. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Second call for anyone wishing to speak in favor. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak in favor of this rezoning application. Not seeing or hearing anyone, I'll close that part of the public hearing and ask if anyone would like to speak against rezoning this parcel of land from R2 to P2. Second call for anyone wishing to speak against. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak against this rezoning application from the city of Onalaska. Not seeing or hearing anyone, I will now close the public hearing and ask our city planner, Katie Aspenson, to introduce this item to the Plan Commission this evening. Katie?
Thank you, Mayor. The city of Onalaska owns the property in question, and we are requesting to rezone the parcel from low medium density residential R2 district to the park and open space district P2 in order to accommodate for the future expansion of the Onalaska Cemetery. City staff have put together 3 conditions of approval for this development.
Thank you. With that being said, I'll turn the matter over to the Plan Commission this evening.
I'll make a motion to approve the rezoning of the parcel of land from low medium density residential R2 to the P2 located at 300 13th Avenue South to accommodate the future expansion of the cemetery. This is tax parcel ID number 18-1025-0. The applicant being City of Onalaska, and the 3 conditions of approval.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor by Mike Milky. It's been seconded by Eric Archer to approve this rezoning application with the 3 conditions. Is there any discussion? Jan?
Question. The properties on Green Street, Jared, are quite a bit lower than the hillside. will that remain hilly or do they plan to level it off?
Currently, the city's planning on putting in a columbarium area along Hickory Street. We're going to vacate Hickory Street and actually close down the road so that way the cemetery parcels will be connected. At the current time, we are not planning on removing all of the trees in that parcel. It's getting rezoned. Eventually, at some point, that area will come down in elevation. To what extent, we haven't confirmed yet, but it will still be above the houses that are along the side street to the south.
Thank you, Jan. Any other questions, Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. Just quick, Jared, is, the first columbarium that we have kind of set to come, is this where that's going, or this is for the future of the other two possibly?
This will be grading into this parcel a little bit, but the actual new proposed columbarium, the first node will be most of it will be on the vacated right away.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we are very excited for this. All right, any other discussion? Okay, the motion on the floor is to approve with 3 conditions. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item number 7 is the vacation and discontinuance request for Pauline Avenue. This is located in the city of Onalaska. The applicants are Tyler and Lauren Morse and Wayne Morse Jr. and Darcy Morse. Item number 7, we'll ask Katie, our city planner, to introduce this item to the Plan Commission this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. The city began the process to consider the vacation and discontinuance of Pauline Avenue to transfer the public right-of-way to the adjacent property owners that are listed above in entirety. On November 12th of 2024, the Common Council approved preliminary resolution 32-2024 to vacate and discontinue Pauline Avenue. A public hearing has been scheduled for the consideration of the proposed vacation request on January 14th, 2025 at 7 p.m. during the Common Council meeting. Included in your packet is the applicant letter request as well as the Exhibit A showing the proposed vacation and discontinuance area as well as a legal description. Included in the packet are 5 conditions of approval for this development.
Thank you, Katie. With that being said, what is the will of the commission?
I'll make a motion to approve the vacation discontinuance of Pauline Avenue with the 5 conditions in our packet tonight.
Second?
We have a motion on the floor by Jared Holter. It's been seconded by Eric Archer to approve the vacation and discontinuance with the 5 conditions. Is there any discussion? Not seeing or hearing any. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 8 is the final implementation plan application to create a planned unit development to facilitate the construction of a new single-family residential development containing 12 new parcels and request deviations from the Unified Development Code, including but not limited to reducing the minimum street yard setbacks from 25 feet to 20 feet, reducing the minimum lot frontage from 70 feet to 60 feet, and allowing the existing detached or accessory structure to temporarily remain without principal structure located at 524 L Hauser Road. This is tax parcel ID number 18-2099-0, and the applicants are Traditional Trades Incorporated and Edward Hengel. What is the will of the Plan Commission this evening?
I'll make a motion to approve the final implementation plan application, which allows for the construction of 12 detached single-family residents located at 524 L Hauser Road, tax parcel 18-2009-0 with the 14 conditions as outlined in agenda item 8.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor to approve by Eric Archer. It's been seconded by Mike Milkey with the 14 conditions. Is there discussion? Not seeing or hearing any. All those in favor of approving with the 14 conditions, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 9, vacation and discontinuance request of a portion of Hickory Street located in the city of Onalaska. The applicant is the city of Onalaska. Katie?
Thank you, Mayor. The city began the process to consider the vacation and discontinuance of a portion of Hickory Street to allow for additional land to facilitate the expansion of the Onalaska Cemetery. On November 12th, 2024, the Common Council approved preliminary resolution 33-2024 to vacate and discontinue a portion of Hickory Street. A public hearing has been scheduled for the consideration of the proposed vacation request on January 14th, 2025 at 7 p.m. during the Common Council meeting. Included in your packet is Exhibit A, the proposed vacation and discontinuance area, as well as the legal description. Included in your packet are 4 conditions tied to this development. Thank you.
Thank you. That was regarding number 9. What is the pleasure of the commission?
I'll move to approve the vacation and discontinuance request for a portion of Hickory Street located in the city of Onalaska with the 4 conditions of approval.
I'll second.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor by Mike Milky. It's been seconded by Eric Archer to approve with 4 conditions. Is there any discussion? Not seeing or hearing any. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 10 is a certified survey map application to subdivide 1 parcel into 1 parcel and 2 outlot parcels. This is located at 101 17th Avenue South. It is tax parcel ID number 18213-8-0. The applicant is the city of Onalaska. Katie?
Thank you. The city of Onalaska proposes to create 2 outlot parcels that will be merged with adjacent property owners upon successful rezoning of the parcels. Oakwoods Park contains a steep hill on the southern end of the park with the parcel line ending in very close proximity on the eastern side to the residents at 104 Oak Forest Drive. Over the past 5 decades, the boundary lines on the southern end of the parcel became unclear, and both neighboring properties at 104 Oak Forest Drive and 111 17th Avenue South made improvements on the parkland that is owned by the city, ranging from major landscaping to retaining walls. The property along the hillside has also been collectively cared for and maintained by the property owners, which have changed many times over the years. While city property is not subject to adverse possession, the city believes that in this very particular case, the hillside would be better served as private property belonging to the abutting property owners than due to the city, due to the various improvements, proximity of the residential properties, desire to have these properties to be kept in conformance with city setbacks, and the city's ability to care for a steep hillside which does not provide recreational use. The La Crosse County Circuit Court approved the petition for order to vacate the portion of Parkway parcel dedicated to the public. Included in your packet are 7 conditions of approval for this project. Thank you.
Thank you for that. What is the desire of the Plan Commission this evening?
I make a motion to approve the survey map and the application for with the 7 conditions shown on the item in agenda 10.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Bill Lethan. It's been seconded by Mike Milky to approve the application to subdivide the parcel with the 7 conditions. Is there any further discussion? Jan? Oh, go ahead, Bill.
I do have a question that, so essentially these outlots, I put it, people have been taking care of it out by themselves because they're kind of next to their property. Is that correct? So
Yes.
if we do all this, do we affect their taxes by giving them more land in effect?
Yes.
We do.
Well, they will now own additional land. So they'll have to pay the associated taxes for the property that they own.
But they're aware this is happening?
Yes.
Jan, do you have a question?
This doesn't affect anything, those power lines go through there. Doesn't have any effect on those.
Nope. Okay, Eric.
I'm not sure if this is Jared or Katie. I fondly recall when you did this fence survey around the neighborhood. Is there a possibility that this exact type situation occurs elsewhere that we would want to account for in one fell swoop, given the sound logic that underpins it?
This is a very unique situation for the city.
Okay.
So I would not necessarily apply this elsewhere.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the motion on the floor is to approve with 7 conditions. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. That brings us to item 11, adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
We have a motion on the floor by Eric Archer to adjourn. It's been seconded by Mike Milky. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? The time is 7:05. Thank you, everyone, for coming and for your good discussion this evening.